Hey folks, we are back. We are going to work on some Crystals of Mabar art assets for the Eberron adventure, characters level 7 and or 8. Give me a hot second here while I check my signals, make sure that I'm coming through live and clear. That seems to be an affirmative. Okay, cool. Give me a hot second here. I'm going to punch my signals. And then we'll do a couple hours worth of work here. If you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter. So if you want to find out when I'm live on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter at Theurgy. Let's see. I'm going to hit some Discord channels here real fast, and then we are going to start working on a new map today. So if you don't know who I am, hey, my name is Theurgy. I produce PDFs for play with 5e D&D RPG. I publish on the DMsGuild. There is a link down below in the description to the DMsGuild. You can see a slew of the work that I've produced previously. You can read anything that I publish cover to cover, read the entire thing, see if you like it, if you find yourself resonating with the content, or go back and visiting at some point because you wanted to be reminded of something. That's probably a good indication that it's worth your money. So that certainly is appreciated. If you decide to kick through some of those books, there's about 120 illustrations throughout the bulk of them, and we are going to be producing similar assets here on stream. So I have finished punching my signal across the net. Looks like we're good there. Chunk. Like, subscribe, follow me. It's the best way to find me, the best way to keep track, and it's the best way to support the channel. I'm up to, what are we up to? We're up to 134 followers now. That's awesome. So we continue to grow. And mainly the reason we do this is kind of like a proof of concept. Since we build PDFs, what we do is you can check out the Monday stream that we do for martial powers. You're seeing us developing a document there, like the text, the mechanics, and the logic and the philosophies that go into that design work. When the text is resolved, then we hand it off to an editor to chew on. And when they're done chewing, they pass it back to me. And if everything reads clean and it's good to go, then we start page layouts. We're going to be starting page layouts this Saturday for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that we produced. So you'll be able to see us dropping that into the processor and start sorting pages. But all these books require lots of assets. Like this book cover that we produced, we made this like around episode, I want to say around episode 40 something of this Eberron Crystals of Mabar stream, and as well as all the map assets that we've been working on. Here I'll show you. We finished the final finish, super proofed. Where'd you go, baby? Hold on, cemetery. There you am. Hi. All right, so here is the, making my computer sweat. Hold on. I know it's a heavy lift, baby. You can do it. And while you're doing it, I'm going to set my alarm. So I have 20-minute bursts. We're going to do 120 minutes. So let's get up to 20. Click and kick. Bam. 20 minutes on the block. We'll be done at 9:30 here in Seattle. But yeah, here's the finalized map that we had. Hey, Hornetico, it's good to see you, my man. So yet again, the cemetery, we've seen it before. Here it is in black and white. Here it is in color. Here's the roofs that we've created for it, and we have finished gridding the roofs. We came back through and we gridded the top of the walls. We finished all the water. This map is dunzo, man. Like dunzo done. And so true to word, finished this map up so we can get him off the plate. No need to make any saves. This is the flooded fort that we had built previously, and that locked up. Okay, so we're going to knock that out of the way. And here is the new structure that we are working on tonight. This is the underground laboratory. So we have, my original thought was to do all this chop on here to represent the walls corroding, but we've learned to do this better since then. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to crack open that Drowned Fort map again. I know, it's a heavy lift, baby. You can do it. Making my graphics card cry. So if you start on the top side here and you go down this ladder, or if you go down through this hole in the ground that all the water is draining through, that leads you to either here or here, and you can squeeze underneath this wall where the water is flowing to, or you can squeeze through that hole in the ground where the water is going to. Watch out, there's undead coming out of it, so they might try to grab at you while you poke your legs through and chew on you. That'd be bad. But water runs downhill, keeps running downhill until it hits the water line, and then it starts to accumulate. Here's the angle of accumulation. The tunnel runs down at this, it's like a 12-degree angle for 600 feet. And the water line hits and then levels out. This is how full it's gotten since the rain had started in the region. But there's these holes that have corroded through the walls that lead here, which is a dead end. We originally were thinking about having this break into this dormitory room. This is an underground complex. This is a barracks, and then there's like storage for the barracks and like different rooms that have since been repurposed into other things. But in the original, these were dormitories, 10 by 15 foot space, so you could fit. You know, if they're just bunking up, then you can have 3 guys sleeping in there easily at a time, run 3 shifts, 8 hour, 8 hour, 8 hour, 8 hour on, 8 hour downtime, 8 hour sleep time, rotate. You can have 24 people per room, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 240 some odd people that you could potentially bunk up in this place, plus officers, and there's different research rooms here. But all the places just corroded to hell, because this is the nexus of the manifest zone and the poisonous cloud that's being kicked out that vents up through here. This is a giant elevator shaft that's just open at this point that just leads up to the surface and just basically fumes out poisonous gas into the environment. But there's also the secret passage that leads up to the cemetery, which we were just working on. And then there's also, damn it, this just locked up too. My computer's locking up a lot, so I should probably spend a little more time getting this thing, resolving this, and then getting us back to only working on one thing at a time. So, get the Drowned Fort. I want to grab we're off to a choppy start here. Don't mind me, guys. Act 3. There we go. So this is going to pop back open, and then we'll be able to see where we're at on this thing. There. So here is the same as here. You can see the similarities. So we're going to make it a lot more similar. So we're going to get that out of the way. Tunnel. Black and white. Get the black and white out of the way. And then we can just, and we can conceal all that. So what I can do is I can just be cheeky. Wait, let's do a full copy. Put that grid back in and go back to this map here and here. with that grid right inside those lines. Yeah. See, now this is lined up, and we have the language that we need built into this map for what we want to do with the rest of the complex. Whew. So that is going to be our baseline, pretty much like that. So we have this thing that is coming down the mountain, and let's see. Bottom layer. Let's see. How are we supposed to build this? Is that what we do? Let's look at the other map. What are dots? Here, figuring out how to line stuff up. This is going to be a choppy session, folks, because we're orienting ourselves and we're getting things, basically getting back in the groove of what we were doing. So it feels like, yeah, maybe this is supposed to like be like this. And do like that. Feels like that. It's not perfect. Okay. Okay, we can be like this. We can be like this. Let's keep being like this. Once we get ourselves figured out, we'll be able to start just banging through this thing, but this is going to be an ugly episode of me stumbling around and being stupid. I can tell. But if I wasn't embarrassing myself, it wouldn't be live. So let's just be comfortable with being uncomfortable, okay? Let's get all of this stuff out of the way so we can put this in, line up, everything hunky-dorky. Wow, is it really that slapdash? For reals? Show me. Oh yeah, it is that sloppy and crap. Okay, well, that's how I built it. That's how I built it. Let's just make sure it's lined up proper. Okay, those lines are right. Oh, so I need that grid. Thank you. And I can conceal this for the moment and make sure that this grid is on just on the outside. Just like that. Just like that. Icked. All right. There. Outside and on. Outside and on. There, that should be lined up. And now in here. Is that how it is? Interesting. That tunnel liner does look a little bit off kilter. Yeah, it's a little off. So it looks like we're going to have to. Well, we had a different design idea when we were originally building it. We wanted to have a buffer that separated things. I remember this, but that's not where we ended up taking it. Regrettable, because that means that we're probably gonna have to go in and fix stuff, but that's okay. We don't have to fix it right now. That's stuff I can clean up on my own. So what I do want to do is make sure, definitely want to make sure the line art is resolved so that I can make sure that when I go through and fix the color, as I keep going along, I keep getting more and more picky about how exact it is, and that's good. That pickiness is a pain in the ass right now, but it is definitely good. Yeah, look how just off things are. The cemetery map was so much more accurate than this, so that's okay. We'll figure it out. That is where this is supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that's off kilter like that, and inside step like that. Out in, sure is. Okay. So line art is where it's supposed to be. This guy is admittedly a hot mess. I was so proud of this when I did it the first time too. But it's got to improve, so we will improve it when we get there. We may end up cleaning up that language too. That's lined up. That is how it actually is. So when we go back through, we'll go fix it on the other side, and then we'll re-import it and continue on from there. But this is, it's serviceable, so we're going to use it as is. So we can grab this and drop this to the background. We can now drop that opacity. We can conceal that. So what we are going to do today is build. Why do you? There you are. Perfect. All right. All right, so let's see. We're going to have that faded so that we can drop it to the background. That line art is good. We just need to line up the color art, and that's... it'll just take some containering, but we can get it figured out. So not a biggie. Check. Check. So now that... processing. Four pixels are obstacles, walls, things you can't just climb over or pass through. 3 pixels is things with form but that you can traverse. Flagstones, defining stair spaces, inclines, and then 2 pixel lines are just decorative or texture. So what we can do is we can go back through the structure and get clean line art first at the 4 pixel scale, and then do all the walls, and then pull into the 3 pixel for like the stairs, the elevator platform here, these cracks in the ground, and then we can go down to 2 pixels. And we'd also do this like with 4, and then 3 lines for these catwalks to the center, and then like 2 lines would be these lines that indicate like the incline sliding down. So what we want to do right now is, now when we built this, we made it all hairy like that because the environment was getting worn down. But we know now that when we do stuff, we want to, for example, let's see if we have a good example up here. So look how much cleaner all this is in comparison to what we had down here. We can definitely, this looks clean. That's, well, yeah, we have that border language throughout all of this thing, but we don't have that in the cemetery anymore, do we? So let's open up the cemetery again and see how we resolved internal wall spaces, just to remind ourselves real quick. So once we see that, we'll know what we need to fix. So let's get rid of the roofs and zoom in here. Yeah, I had subsequently gone and pushed these things out for the most part to the border of that line art. So when we go back and we do this again, we'll know to do that. So, but let's look at the language of these walls that you can climb over, and you can see that we've got wear and tear on them. So when we go into the back into the bunker here, and we get into these spaces here, if it's clean room, a clean air area like here and here, let's get these, the doors. So you drop in the doors, these areas stay clean air. This is flooded with water. So we'll be able to take this language and expand it out into here using the cemetery language that we developed. So we can use this language here and here. Thank you. Keep it going because it's snowing. Yeah. So we know we can use this sort of language here, that kind of stuff. That's what we're going to look for. When we go back to... So we can use that. That's where we're going to start, using that same language to come through here, fill up this space. This is where you hit your watermark, and then you go into normal flagstone flooring, concrete flooring, whatever. This comes along, and you hit again concrete flooring from here, moving inward. So we can do, and there's a drain here that leads down into an underground river that we could theoretically make an expansion out of at some point, but there's also a giant black pudding that sits at the bottom of that that's preventing it from flowing properly. The black pudding doesn't have enough strength to resist the current, so it's just kind of stuck there. So it has this like slow clogged hair drain effect going on, which is why the area is flooding, and it's flooding through these walls into this space. And if it was left to its own devices, it would eventually fill the place up. But there's just enough flow in the swirl here to drain. So when we get into that, it'll be something kind of like this-ish, or like this-ish, like that sort of language. So it's going to be similar. Yeah. So, but the interior walls, the fatigue that we're looking at is going to be, well, we got the roofs off, so let's take a look at the actual. See, all that stuff is still clean, but it's not as worn down and corroded out here. You can see some breaking here, so we can do stuff like that. It's like crumbly. There's a decent look. So we could do stuff like this. Wear it down, tear it up, take chunks out of it. So that's a good model. This right here is a good idea about where we're going. This is a good idea about where we're going. Yeah, so that's the kind of language that we want to develop for underground here. That's a 4-pixel line here, and those are 2-pixel lines. So that is how we're going to do that. So okay, great. So I feel comfortable with that, and we can start. It changes equals no. I feel comfortable enough for us to start making a mess out of this place. So let's start making a mess out of this place. I'm going to drop the color out of that because we're going to have to change it all anyway. So we may as well get it out of the way. I did want to just make sure we had things lined up proper though. So we're good to go here. I'm going to duplicate this layer, conceal it. Let's drop this into step eraser. Hey Dragon, how you doing, man? So we are going to, we're going to start just relining all of this. The color patterns that we have for everything should be pretty smooth. We have the language, we know the kind of texture that we want. We have the color palette that we want to use off of these other structures. So should be, we can use the same cobblestone language when we get down to this area here, and then we have the way that this dungeon is built. It's got the 3 paths, right? Pathing. You got 4 points of entry. If you're coming down from the top, from the flooded ruins, you can either go through these tunnels into this flooded area that's full of undead and plant type creatures for a hard combat slog that you can get out of by going back into the fog-filled tunnels, or if you go this path and get into even more danger, like there's like a shambling mound with poisonous moss all over it over here. There's a roper here. There's assassin vines through here. There's a black pudding here, and there's like a D8 table of different type of undead or demons that are coming from the Nexus Zone area here. This path here, and I just locked up. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm gonna save. Actually, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this map because apparently me being on me having multiple maps open of this size as well as streaming is causing my computer to choke. So only one map at a time right now. So let's pull that back open. But yeah, we have those 3 regions. We have the aquatic area that's like hard combat. As soon as this opens, thank you. And you can get through here, or if you choose to use this, this is a murder hole. This is a massive iron portcullis gate. It's just a blast door that can raise and lower. But this is a murder hole. This here is the same as over here. That's the same language here, right? So this is a siege tower. So if anyone is trying, this would normally not be flooded. If this place was being tended to, it wouldn't be flooded. It'd just be a tunnel that leads up to a topside entrance where you create machines and undead creatures. You open up the blast door, you roll the creatures out to the top deck, and then you export them to wherever they're supposed to be in the region. Or there's also a this is a teleportation chamber, and it's one of the goals, one of the plots from Aether Academy. If you're recruited by Aether Academy to come raid this place, your actual goal in that adventure is to get the teleportation circle back in operational, but without anyone catching you. So you have to sneak in, get the thing to work again, turn it on, so that Aether Academy requisition operatives can come in and take control of the area. And if it's still hostile, you can work with them, or they could have you like, this is too hot, clean this place up and we'll come back when it's done. So if your team needs to bug out, they can bug out and let the NPCs take over. The NPCs get killed. Then they got killed, we got to go back in so that you can continue the mission again after a long rest at Aether Academy. Juice up on equipment if you need, and then dive back into it using the teleportation circle if it's still active. And if it isn't, they can plane shift you either to this location over here. The plane shift is unexact, so it can land you wherever it is that the DM thinks is convenient. So you get the teleportation circle as an option. Going down the flooded fort is an entrance, and then using the murder hole, like if you have a druid, like in one of our playtests we had a druid that she just wild shaped into a mouse, and there was enough gap that a tiny creature could get through. And you're supposed to be able to do that. It's not supposed to fucking stump you. It's just supposed to whittle down your resources. All we want to do in this adventure is eat your resources, keep sapping you of stuff. Like, you can open these doors by making a shitload of noise, by turning the crank that like everyone in the whole facility is going to hear, and then you bring hell down on you. Or you can pop a spell, like a first level spell slot, to like jump start it. But then the door is going to open. And it's going to make a lot of noise also. So at some point you're going to make noise in this place. And so if you're smart and you can wait until a patrol comes by and they open the door when it's timed, you can either sneak in with them, ambush them, disguise yourself, and then go in yourself. This is a stairway that leads to the topside entrance, which we spent time on building the map about, I think around episode 65. So yeah, stairway here. This is an elevator shaft that's broken that just leads to a giant hole in the topside entrance, or the gatehouse, that you can just rappel down if nobody notices you. But if you go through here, through the murder hole, it leads up into the gatehouse. The gatehouse has a door here. You go down these stairs, which leads to here, where you can slosh your way through this water, and then you're back in the same room again. So this point, and this point all lead to this central room. And from this central room, which you can be teleported into, depending on what your plot hook is, you can either choose to hard path combat through the water slog. That's if your paladin pops detect evil, it's all coming from over here. So it's like, well, evil's that way, that's the way we should go. Well, great. Get your knives out, because it's going to be all combat. If you want to sneak around, you can't get through this door because it's closed, so it's going to be noisy. But all these doors are blocking off this poisonous smoke effect. And these are little air veins that you can either pedal pump, or you could cast Unseen Servant and have it pump for you. But it's basically a pedal pump. And while you pump the pedal, it makes the wind turbine spin. And while the wind turbine is spinning, it creates a clean zone of air that's in a 20-foot radius. So here's your core. So you go 5, 10, 15, 20 feet. And this hits a door. But this smoke can't get any further down the hallway here, because you have this wind turbine that prevents the fog from polluting this area. So soldiers can sleep down here and get out of the goop. and be able to have rest. And you got, like, over here, there's going to be alchemist tables. This is where the Aether Academy alchemists that got kidnapped / recruited to come work on all the alchemical stuff that you can do in this place. So there's like notes and directions on how to do all that, so you can loot that, and then your team can decide, do we want to destroy this place, or do we want to profit from it and take it over ourselves and make it our lair, our fortress that we have to defend, and now we can become a magic factory to sell to. That would be your, like, the 12. Your plot line would be for the evil organization, the 12. Like, if you want to work with them, like if that's the kind of team you're running, then taking this place over makes sense. And all these notes, you can then keep the operation going. You don't have to destroy the ritual. You can just kill the guys that are conducting the ritual and then take it over yourself. But now you have the same problem that they did, and that if you keep this up, it's going to kill you. So you got to go find other people to get killed instead for you, which is why villagers have been going missing, which is what led the sheriff plot hook, the friend plot hook. Yeah, those 2 plot hooks specifically is like, there's people missing from our village. There's guards doing weird stuff. There's undead in the forest. What the fuck is going on? That leads you down here. It's like, oh yeah, they're killing people for this undead Mabar manifest zone ritual thing. We gotta stop that if you're a goody two shoes, right? But if you take the place over, you've got the exact same damn problem. So now you gotta go find souls to kill. So it's like, do you really want to chase after this? Because you're gonna bring down Aether Academy is still going to be looking for the artifact that gets this place running. Aether Academy is still looking for a return on their investment. The gatekeepers want you dead for pulling a manifest zone where it's not supposed to be right now. The Church of the Silver Flame hates you because you're spawning evil across the world. You got to nib that in the bud. These are all plot hooks that you could play, but if you don't and you take the place over, they now become your enemies. So there's a lot of really fun ways to be able to spin this thing out. But you got the topside entrance coming down the stairs, the elevator shaft. You got the flooded fort that you can go through the hard path water, through the tunnels, or use the murder hole to get up into the guardhouse to then drop back down into the main room here. Or if you're in the cemetery, there's a hidden tunnel, an escape route that gets you out of this lab into the cemetery to get away. But if you find it in the cemetery, Scooby-Doo style, you can go down, and that shortcuts you through a shitload of trouble. If you're just doing like a Scooby-Doo investigation sort of adventure, like a one-shot, you can sneak your way around inside the cemetery, find the hidden doors, get into the tunnels, get down into here, and then you just basically got a quick path to the ritual that you can then, disrupt the whole scene and then bug out again. But like your main mission would be to rescue the hostages that are being kept here. So if you're Scooby-Dooing, you can get to here. All you gotta do is knock this guy out. He's actually asleep when you find him. So if you can find a way to keep him asleep or knock him out or incapacitate him somehow quietly so that nobody else is noticing what's going on, you could potentially get the hostages out of here, get them out of the tunnel and run away. So when they go looking for the next sacrifice to keep the ritual going, there isn't anyone left. And at that point, they have to start eating their own. So all these guards that are being kept in this clean area, if suddenly Carl's missing, what happened to Carl? Well, it looks like they killed Carl. Now they have a mutiny and the place is going to just self-destruct itself. But your goal was to get the hostages out. You don't care what happens to the place. It's going to nuke itself. So that's considered job done. But if you want to extend it out into a longer campaign, good job. You got the hostages out. There's no friendlies inside the facility. You can go back and nuke it from orbit. So you can be as hostile as you want because there's no innocents left aboard. There's another path that if you go in the topside entrance, you can convince the mercenaries to turn on the necromancers to work with you so that you can have them taking the brunt of damage when you're fighting demons and undead monsters and whatever it is that they got running around in the tunnels. So this clean path is social. The dirty path is more exploration. And the aquatic flooded path is more combat. And then you have all these different routes. If you're willing to open doors on your own to draw attention to yourself, you're escalating threat to yourself, or I guess the heist adventures now would call that increasing suspicion. So if you're opening these doors, you're increasing suspicion throughout the facility. But if you get through the doors with people that are opening and closing them on security checkpoint times, then you're going to be able to move throughout the place without people realizing you're there. So you could potentially get through the entire place without engaging anything, specifically making skill checks to figure out what's going on, listen in on what's going on to gather information, avoid being contacted, and then find the stuff that you need. Like there's things in these rooms that you can steal or use to change the environment. Like the magic circle, teleportation circle doesn't work because all the runes that make the teleportation circle work are carved into kyber crystals, and the kyber crystals are screwed into place, so there's divots that are missing in the magic circle, and while those divots are missing, the circle doesn't work. But the cool thing about that is they have multiple crystals, so they can change what the destination of this circle is by changing the runes that are built into it. Because when you make a teleportation circle, you code it to the 6 runes that define that teleportation circle. So if you can swap out what those runes are, suddenly if you know the combination to this one and they move those locks out, it doesn't work anymore. You can't get here. So they have one key code combination for Ader Academy. They have another key code combination to the meetup point for the 12 mercenaries contact. And then the Emerald Claw that's coming and taking control of this place has another set of coordinates that their terror cell knows the location to. So they have 3 different people that can access this place on their own schedule by swapping out what the destinations are, by changing the combination, basically. So yeah, because it's an Eberron adventure. So yeah, there's just a lot of Eberron flavor thrown all throughout this thing because it is an Eberron adventure. So, but that's the quick skinny of the place. Long story short. So what I had done initially was the longer this miasmic smoke, this plague mist, remains in an area, the more it corrodes the area that it's in. And then it converts all the soil to crystal and stuff like that, like we talked about before in the previous episodes. So what my original thought was to corrode this place down and start chopping up the walls like this so it's gritty. But I don't like that. I don't like that anymore. The other maps that we've built are cleaner than this. So I'm going to go back through now and rebuild the whole thing with the line art that we've established in the 3 other maps that we've built so far. Since we have that language defined, we can just duplicate that language and then push it down into this space too. So that's the plan. Because kyber crystals are a thing. I get it. Is it spelled the same way? Because that's a little ridiculous. Oh well. In Keith we trust. So this is, where are we at? There. This is, I think, the thing I'm supposed to be working on. Why is everything so lost? Hold on. Not sure if they're spelled the same. I'll have to check. Thanks. I've got something going wrong. Oh, that's what's going on. Right. There we go. Okay. I am now officially back on track. So we've got our 4 pixels. We've got our black lines. Let's get back to work. This is what we'll be doing for ever. Hey, timely timer, keep it timing. But now that we have an established language for all this stuff, it's going to be much easier for us to be able to build it out. KH, no H. Well, that H makes a big difference. That's no copyright infringement there, my friends. Perfect. Saturday, folks. I want to make sure it's on your plate. If you're checking in on this, like and subscribe. Hit the bell, because on Saturday we're going to begin page layouts for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that we've been working on. I don't know how entertaining it's going to be, but we're going to at least start the process so you guys can see what that stuff looks like. And just because, you know, we're making sausage here. That's the whole point of the channel, is like, what does it take to build a PDF and publish third-party content for, you know, role-playing games. You know, obviously D&D 5th edition is where I'm specializing in, but the same rules apply to everything. And so this is kind of a, this is how we build things sort of stream, you know, with on Mondays with the martial powers, we do all the text for the development of that project, and we've already gotten through that process with the Spelljammer document. So we've gotten it back from our edits. Adam did a fantastic job with it. I'm really happy with how it just how clean it is. It's good language. It's good mechanics. I'm taking credit for the mechanics. I had a huge assist from Ukulele Bard just to make sure things balanced out, and he's got a pretty damn good head on his shoulders about balance, like character balance, mechanical balance, numerical balance. He's really, really good at sussing that stuff out. So it was really fun. He and I spent probably a good solid, well, we spent a year on the combat, the mechanics for the mass combat, guild, kingdoms, and squad command system mechanics, and then we started building vehicle rules for Descent into Avernus for the Infernal War Machines, and Hornetico knows as we were playtesting those, and then Spelljammer happened. And then when Spelljammer happened, we realized that the mechanics that we had built for the Infernal War Machines, if you just gave them wings and sped them up to a greater scale, all the mechanics worked the same. So from there we could use, so it was basically from July 2021 through July 2023, we built out all those mechanics, and then Spelljammer hit in August, and it's like, well, we can literally take what we had built and just apply it to Spelljammer. So since August, we had been converting the mechanics, the vehicle Infernal War Machine mechanics that we had developed into Spelljammer. So the way that worked was we built mechanics. I keep saying mechanics, forgive me, but so we built it here. I'm going to do this as a quick trick. See if I can make this happen here. Hold on. There. And we can there, and then we can modify, expand. It feels like 5 pixels. I was wrong. It is 7. So let's try that again. Select. I'll finish my thought here in a second. Expand. 7. Not quite there. Select. Modify. Expand. Let's go with 12. Oof, that feels pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. And then we go to select, modify, contract, 4, delete, bam, there we go. There. Now that's the platform that we have, and then we can break the platform later on. But I'm just going to leave the circle intact for now, like that. Drop this back down to, and it's on a separate layer, so it's not going to interrupt the scene at all. Let's get back down to 4 pixels, perfect. Yeah, that's how we want that to be. I will work on that stairway later. So yeah, we originally started off with the mass combat system, which was originally a project about how can we create alternate mechanics so that a DM is going to be okay with characters summoning 16 wolves to attack a Balor, for example. We want to have mechanics that makes controlling any amount of summoned minions fast and easy. And from there, it kind of expanded into, well, since we're doing that, why not? Why don't we just build out mechanics so that we can use hirelings? And since we're building out mechanics for hirelings, why don't we just build out a system for? Hold on, that's not lining up properly. Why don't we build? Can we build it so that it works at any level, like at any amount of troops? And we put in the work, and the answer is yeah, you can. We did, and it works. So the vehicle mechanics for Infernal War Machines was, well, since we have like these like 3x3 like a huge size squad and like a large size squad and a gargantuan size squad, the Infernal War Machines fit inside these size areas as well. So can we make like vehicles a type of squad that just moves really fast? And the answer was yes, we can. And it all curved out smoothly. And then when Spelljammer happened, it's like, well, these are just basically like really big vehicles. So we already had the mechanics for commanding armies in 500-foot squares that moved around, 3,000 feet at a time, and then like attacked every minute. But Spelljammer moves a lot quicker, like 1,000 miles squares quicker. That's the speed a Spelljammer ship can move. So we were able to take it from 5-foot people to within 50 feet as Infernal War Machines to within 500 feet as Spelljammer vessels, and all the mechanics scaled. So once we knew that all the mechanics scaled correctly, we then had the opportunity to just take those basic rules that we had created and then flesh out all the stuff that was missing, like how to deal with impossibly large distances with millions of miles and all the yada 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 that goes on with a Spelljammer campaign. And once we finished all that, where we're at now, which is let's publish a book. So long story short, too late. That's where all that crap came from. And my meds are kicking in right on, so you're probably gonna have to crash soon. Right on, dude. Dude, you have a great night, man. You have a fantastic night. It's great to see you when I get to. Let's see. These doors are 3 wide, so I am realigning. This is great because I get the chance to realign the whole map and make it work right. Let's merge this down. But that's the story of where the Spelljammer stuff came from. I'm going to copy and then paste. I'm going to free transform equals flip horizontal. I'm going to push this over. Yeah. Well, I can just leave that like that, and we can duplicate this layer, and then flip it. Free transform equals flip vertical. And since Eberron, since Spelljammer is still a hot topic, then we just decided to commit to finishing the Eberron project, or the Spelljammer project. And now that the text is done, once the Spelljammer project's done, we get to go back to finishing up the army squads and armies mechanics. And then we'll apply all those rules to the Dragonlance adventure that came out, so we can show how your characters can be in command of the actual Dragonlance army to fight Takhisis and Lord Soth and all that yada yada as a fully functioning commanding army. And so, so that's where all that stuff came from. So once the Spelljammer book is out, we get to go back to building out armies and squads, and then I don't want to buy the board game, but I'll do it if I have to get my hands on the instruction manual. And once we have the instruction manual in hands, we'll be able to convert all of the board game, the Dragonlance board game, into actual 5e mechanics using, the rules that we built, so that you can convert, so that you don't have to buy the $120 board game or whatever. You can just buy our thing for like $20, save yourself a shitload of cash, and actually continue playing 5e D&D the entire adventure without having to set it down and play a stupid fucking board game. So forgive my French and my utter disrespect for the decisions that WotC makes, but sometimes I just don't think they try hard enough. Because if some dumb schmuck like me, I literally live down the street from WotC's headquarters, and I keep saying you guys ought to hire me, and they're just like, nah, we don't even want to interview you. It's like, fine, fuck you. Let's just build this shit myself. So we did. I'm a little angry about it. I'd rather be their friend than their enemy, but, everyone makes their choices. Merge that down. Where are you coming from, dude? I see you. So maybe after I publish this on the DMsGuild and they realize they can use it for free because, that's the contract, maybe they'll hire me along with it so I can keep building these tools for them. That is the dream. Next time they put out a help wanted for a designer, I just keep sending them my portfolio. It's like, here's what I've built since the last time I applied. So eventually you guys will take me. If it happened for Justice Armin, it could happen for me. But I am just far too in love with D&D to cut, just to bail on it too quickly. Just can't do it. Can't bring myself to doing it. Yeah. Where are we at? I feel like I'm lost. Hold on. There's that. Fort. Here. There. Okay. I know where we're at now. Bloop, bloop. Looking good. Looking good in the hood. They'll hire me eventually. Problem is, can they pay enough? They don't really pay a lot for Seattle. That's always the case. Like what you would call a dream job, they totally know what you think is a dream job. So they totally don't pay you enough to make it a dream. Like part of that dream is being able to afford your home, and the wages that they tend to offer are not living wages in Seattle. Like $60,000 a year to be a designer is just, it doesn't cut it in Seattle. It is a massive metropolis, man. Like you need to be getting paid like $70,000-$80,000 to be living well enough to put in the kind of hours that you're going to want to commit to be able to produce at the rate that they want. So even if they ended up offering me the gig, I honestly don't know if I'd take it. I just don't know if I could afford it. But who knows? Doesn't matter. They're not asking for me. It's like I was super pumped about maybe doing artwork for Piezo. I went out and I interviewed with them at one of the conventions. The 2019 convention is at SeaTac. And so I booked some time with their art director to take a look at my portfolio, and they liked my work, and then they gave me some suggestions of like some nominal improvements that I would need to make for me to get onto their roster. And then I found out that they pay about $500 for a half page of art that they own the rights to. I'm like, are you what? No, I'll just do my own thing. Thanks anyway. I mean, maybe the prestige would have been good, but didn't seem like it was gonna pan out. So again, a dream job, right? A real dream gig that just doesn't pay enough to make that dream last. You know, it's a problem. I should move to like Brazil or Indonesia, where they've got enough tech to be able to do this sort of work consistently, like with stable internet, but their cost of living is like a third of ours. So I could do a painting for like $150 and be good for 2 weeks. Alright, fuck you. Let me do that. I'm going to put a lock on this. I'm going to put a lock. I'm going to put a lock here and put a lock here and yeah, keep that locked. Move this to here, put a lock on that. I just got to lock everything around this because I keep messing with my own balance. So just lock everything, lock, except for the one layer that I'm working on, so that I can just keep my head straight, you know. So free transform. I hear you. All right. Keep that going. Free transform. Flip horizontal. Perfect. I can just grab all of this. transform. Bump, 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 bump. Like that. Now here. There we go. Merge it down. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. And we'll merge that down. Yeah. Look at that standardization, so good. All these walls are pretty regulation. We're off here though, boss. Let's fix it. There we go. See, the nice thing about having 4 pixels is that you can line up the wall pretty well. Let's use that. Fun. Yeah, start releasing these mechanics, get them published, and there is literally nothing we can't do in the universe. Bring on Planescape, because we can scale out the Blood War, as well as the Modron March. And that's going to be sick. So I've been trying to figure out this prophetic fighting feature since over on the Instructor Voice channel, specifically trying to figure out how I want it to work as a reaction if I go that route. Sure, that just seems intuitive to me anyway, right? Also, I'm excited for the project. I love Eberron's lore, and it's one of the few things I really want to play in. Oh, you mean this one? Oh, God, thanks. Right on, my dude. Well, you will be most welcome to check it out. I mean, everything else that I build, it'll be 100% preview, but like all these maps and stuff will be in a zip folder that you get if you decide to buy it and download it. Then you get all the assets that go along with it. So that'll hopefully go free transform, and then bump, 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 bump. Hopefully it does what you need it to. But we've had 3 DMs run it, and all of them have come back saying it's fun as hell. So if you decide to run it yourself, hopefully your team finds that to be true as well. We designed it. It's Stuart Bras, Andy Headley, Old Goat, Andy Headley, and of course myself. We are the 3 that are working on it. Stuart's doing edits. Andy is my my anchor and co-writer to keep me sane during the project, because the risk of madness is real. But yeah, we built it to be usable by professional DMs. Like if you work multiple gigs with multiple tables and you want something that you can get intimately familiar with, that you won't get bored of easily, that you can take in different directions, and you can leave options open to the players that are paying to be there with you. So that they can call the shots on what they want to have happen and how they want it to play out, and the supplement will be, since there's so many different plot lines and objectives, goals, and just ways to run the adventure, that hopefully there's a high chance of replayability. Like each group that a professional DM would take through this thing they could offer, they've got 6 hooks, and they could even make, obviously they can make their own off of that, or you can mix different hooks together to complicate what your storyline is. Or the one that I like the most is don't have a single plot. Instead, have each character roll a d6 and decide what their specific goal in the adventure is. But don't tell anyone else unless you want to, because their goals may be completely different from yours. And whoever achieves their goal gets, an extra Snickers or whatever at the end of the adventure, like an extra IP or whatever for the next game. But or a trophy or something, whatever it is that paid DMs do to reward people for showing up. But the idea is that you can mix and match the objectives inside the adventure. So at some point, the team could potentially have to betray each other, or they have to decide which patron are they going to ditch if they want to focus on the team specifically. So it could also be that you can start off, you could run the story one way and let the team TPK, and if it does, then start up another team and then introduce a completely different hook that starts them in a different area, so that they have to then go in and fix the problem that their first characters weren't able to. So like you can start them at 7th level, and if the team gets killed, you could have them build a new team at 8th level, go through the adventure again, and if they survive that iteration, then they can. Yup. Dog's barking. Then they can, potentially raise the dead characters if they really want their original character back, or be like, well, these characters are tougher and better, so I'm going to stick with this team, where you can mix and match it, So, and the DM could use those dead PCs against the team if he wanted to. What's up, RP Jeffrey? How you do? New map, new rants. Super excited. We're going to rotate 180. What? No. There's a lot of consistent language, like wall thickness, language like that. Like all these elements kind of line up with each other, so I can, instead of me having to really, break my neck over making all these things line up properly, I can just do a bunch of cut and paste using the same, this door. This door format is consistent all throughout the dungeon, so I can cut and paste these door frames and then just drop them in, so I can reduce the amount of time it takes me to build out these walls. But as we go further and further towards the nexus of the manifest zone, where the rot is the strongest, the walls break down more and more. So we can start the walls with clean language, clean lines, and then we can corrode the lines like we see here. Like this language isn't. It was a neat idea at the time, but we've matured in the language that we want to use for this particular. We want consistent language between. Just off. Consistent language between this and the top side maps, because we have a lot of good topography language, I guess, for lack of a better word. I guess that's the word we would use. I want to make sure that I keep like the different visual cues, like what does a wall look like, what does the ground look like, what is the Mabar crystals look like, all that stuff. I want to keep all that language consistent from one area to the next. So as the team goes from like normal world out of the forest, the village, and keeps pushing further into the forest until they hit the manifest zone, and once they're inside the manifest zone, it continues to terraform more and more into Mabar landscape. And so you dig your way through this final dungeon to the nexus here, and this path, and this path are all passages that lead off into Khyber and Mabar itself. It just leads out of here, because this is like there's a full integration to the point where this is like literally Mabar at this point coming into this space. So you can wander out and monsters add mobs. If your team's having too easy a time in the place, you can use these paths as mob ads and roll like a D8 table for different type of creatures from Mabar that can come through, whether they're demons, undead, or aberrations. Come through here and then either go out through here or here to then harass the zone. So the human guards, the mercenaries, have all these doors sealed off so that the monsters can't come and just kill them, right? Like, it's their job to protect this place and make sure that people on the surface don't come through, like your characters don't come through and screw the place up. But they also have to keep themselves safe while they do that. So they have all these security perimeters in place. And then you got the blue for the flooded water area. You've got the plague mist miasmic effect in this area, and then these are walled off areas where the guards can always breathe fresh air and their food doesn't get rotten and all that other sort of stuff, like, you know, so they can survive down here for extended periods of time. There, get rid of those items again. You would cry too if it happened to you. That's right, magic circle. Elevator. So what you saying there, RP? Watching you and Taryn has helped me stay engaged with game design. Excellent! Even if I have to rely mostly on videos on demand. Right on, my dude. New map, new rants. Big Pepe, Sophia energy. Right on. Happy to be in the meme. Let's see. Right, so let's just keep building. We were here. Copy, paste. Transform. Yeah, I develop anything but character classes. Like full classes, not my jam at all. I think that's really fun. Like Tara and I are completely non-competitory in that sense. Non-competitive, competitory. What's the word on that? Competitive. It's not like it's a competition. All you're really doing is building off of each other. But it's all my stuff are ubiquitous systems that work on both sides. Like the stuff that I build, I want both DMs and players to be able to use. Like almost all my stuff, other than adventures, are things that, like I said, both NPCs and PCs can use, as opposed to like NPCs don't really use character classes. Like those are players only. But all the mechanical systems, like the spell casting systems and the martial power system that I've been developing, the spelljammer mechanics, all that stuff is designed to be used by both DM and player, because these are all things that when I DM, I need. Like I want to run a game that uses these different things, but these things don't exist. So here, hold my beer. And then, you know, anywhere from a month to a year and a half later, finally I can continue this idea that I had. But I use my home table as guinea pigs like all the time in game design. So, and I run 1 to 20, like level 1 to 20 campaigns roughly every 250 hours or so. So I have a good opportunity to there we go, to pace through stuff. I'm gonna put that here. So everything I put out there is stuff that I personally play test, and then depending on what it is, put it in the hands of, like this adventure has gone through 3 DMs so far, and may have another one that's going to jump onto it soon. But I mean, we're already in edits, so I don't think we're going to make much changes. But we do have room for revisions if they're necessary. So I'm not gonna never say never. Never say never. How do I want to build this? I want to build this. First things last. Whoop. Why was I chasing this? Sure, I had a good reason. Modular design. I can't mention it frequently enough. This Saturday morning, I begin page layouts for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that Ukulele Bard and I have been developing. I am over the moon excited about that. I've still got a couple creature tokens. I'm like from this morning. We're building out the Lunar Dragon and the Megapede. And once both of those are done, we're done with all the creatures that we need. I overshot my target. Excuse me. Hold on. Caught me monologuing again. Perfect. Merge that down. Merge. Don't do it. Merge. Oh no. Well, merge will be okay. Paste. Back it up. The further away you are in the zoom, the faster the shape. I just use the arrow key to push it down because it guarantees it stays lined up. If I just use an arrow key instead of like trying to manually push it around. Actually got some burrs here though. That's bad news. Bad news burrs. There. But yeah, so 2 creature tokens. I think I have. God, I want to say I have like 10 ship tokens to finish. I've got the Theurgy ambush map to complete, and that'll finish off all the game assets that. Oh no, that's not true. I have to make the fighter craft. The spider, like the Theurgy spiderlings and the like the skiffs, the goblin blades, the Elithid cuttlefish, the little small, like anywhere from like 15 to 50 foot like elven flitters and stuff like that, like anywhere from, they're basically infernal war machines that can fly is basically what it comes down to. That's the root of the mechanic to begin with. There is definitely something amiss. I'm okay with where things are at. Alright, we're doing okay. Here. So, and I have to do the floor plans for those. There's 5, 6. Oh, there's also the manta ray. So there's 6 different. Jamming crafts, small craft that I need to build tokens for, as well as tokens and floor plans for the craft. And then I need astral elves. Do I? I want to build. Yeah, I have to. I need 1, 2, 3 types of elves. I need 2 types of pirates. I need a ghost, topola, autonomes, gif, hadozi, plasmoids. Yeah, I've got some assets I gotta build. But they can just be profiles. I don't have to do full bodies. I can just do profile pictures, which will actually be a lot of fun. So, oh, look at that. I just get to duplicate this language all down here. Oh, copy, paste. Free transform. Keep it going because it's snowing. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, Kearney. You're smithing the shit out of this thing. Doing a good job, Earl. I'm using 100% on this. When I'm pushing stuff like that, I'm using 100% strength. So when I drag, I lose 0 pixel quality. Like, see how it's getting dragged around like that? If I drag it this way, it pulls the bulk of it. But if I drag it this way, it separates more. That's because of the nature of this brush. Check this guy out. See how blotchy that is? There's different levels of opacity all throughout this shape. So it's my cloud brush. So when I grab with it, here, let me go back to my other one here. 6, 5, 4. Right. So if I'm doing, I'm just going to mess up my screen here for a moment. Save. Good. I'll put that back in. So this is what this brush can do. It's at 100% right now, so it pulls like that. But if I drop it down to like 20%, it's a really, really good gradient smudge brush, like super smooth. And it doesn't use any weird formatting issues what's the word I'm looking for? Brush properties. Thank you. The brush setting. Like, it's super simple. There's like nothing going on here at all. All of the work that's done by this brush is specifically because of the layer transparencies that are built into it. So it has it requires no CPU usage for me to use that at all. Even at like really, like, this is a 70-inch by 70-inch map. It's a 7,000 pixel map space. And I can just easily push this stuff around like that. And it doesn't slow my CPU down like at all. So it's a really great tool. And I developed that when I was learning how to paint landscapes via Bob Ross. So got about, let's say about 110. I've done 110 of his paintings in Photoshop. Like started from like, it takes me like maybe 3 hours to do one of his paintings, but I can, like the really dense layered ones might, if I don't know how to just do it when I look at it, it could take me like maybe 5 hours, but I can crack out a Bob Ross painting pretty damn fast. And I got good like that because I just did a shitload of them because I didn't like the quality of the forest environments, like just the natural environments I was putting in the background of my paintings. So it's like, well, Bob Ross is the best I know, so why don't I go learn from him? And once I understood that he's just basically doing Japanese block prints is basically how his method works. So once you suss that out, then you can build your own blocks, So I've got all these different type of tools here, like this razor chisel, this razor brush that I can build shapes with, and like brushes, this corn cob thing, this vine, a little like a pollen fluff, all these different weird shapes and stuff are all different stamping tools or smudge brushes that I can use to duplicate the stuff that you see Bob Ross do. Like whenever he dots his brush on here, I'll show. This is a total tangent, but I haven't done any forest in a while, like any forest paintings. So I'm honestly missing it. So I don't mind the tangent here real quick at all. But here, let's just do this. There. So I can pan out, and then I can like super low intensity tree. There you go. Bam. Super easy. But at this resolution, it kind of works. If I zoom in, I have to use a different type of brush. It's all about playing with the resolution, how closely you're able to look at an object, and how much pixel information do you need per square inch on whatever it is that you're working on. So But this shape specifically, where did it go? Yeah, this shape. This shape specifically is I took a screenshot of a stamp of leaves, a clump of leaves that he did, and I zoomed in. I extracted that image specifically, and then I converted it to black and white. So there was white background and black dots, and that's basically what I got. And then I just manipulated it a little bit. But each one of his little brush stamps creates this like little effect, and like the way that the brushes splash out like that when he stamps the brush down is what causes those weird patterns. And depending on how he angles his brush, determines on what kind of stamp patterns that he creates. So I can do the same thing because I'm using the ZBrush access function, and you can see that, you know, it like you can see how it manipulates around at different angles because my brush recognizes the tilt of the axis of the brush, and it can spin and it can tilt. So I have the same sort of dexterity that Bob has when he's stamping leaves. And then all these chisels that I have down here, these were all, see, look how much language there is inside of that. And then I can grab the chisel. That's the razor, and this is the chisel. And you see these also spin like that. So I can go down through here, and like I can pick at that, and I can change the texture of things. So that's how that crap works. So I don't know why I was on that tangent. I think I honestly just wanted to take a mental break. So in rant, back to work. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we do. So figuring out like building building systems and figuring out how to create effects is kind of like what my brain likes to do. So that's how I can, like, you know, build scaling combat mechanics and like color mana systems and blah blah blah. All the things that I build and I publish, I can, like, that's the kind of stuff that my brain thinks about. Like I could build a barbarian subclass and I don't shit upon anyone that does that kind of stuff. It's just I'm gonna get rid of that. But as a forever DM, the kind of stuff that I want to build is like, is this going to make my life better? / if I implement this, am I going to give characters new options so that they can do different things? And I come from an Osric world. Back in the 80s, like 80, I want to say 87 is when I started playing D&D. So like Spelljammer came out a couple years after I started playing, and wow, what a great time to get introduced to the game. That stuff was amazing, but I miss all that stuff. Like that's just my jam, you know. So it doesn't exist, and I thought that maybe those things would come back because 5e is kind of like this blend between third and first edition. So I thought maybe they'd bring back these, mass combat mechanics and all the yada yada, but they clearly aren't. So it was kind of like, well, if I'm going to do that stuff, I'm going to have to do it myself. So here, hold my beer, and let's get to work. So, and then, but in the early 2006, I want to say, that's when I started playing. That's when I started playing Eberron. And I just fell in love with Eberron. It's been my base campaign for 15 years, something like that. Even when I was playing Cypher System, I was still running it in Eberron. And I love Eberron. But my Eberron's like, I am not a lore master. I like the way that the worlds are set up, like the continents. I like the general narrative of the different nations and factions and guilds that exist inside the place, but I don't know anything about Eberron's actual lore. Like, I couldn't tell you who was supposed to be where. I just know that I have a space opera. Like my Eberron's a space opera campaign. Each nation and continent is a separate asteroid that's floating around detonated core of the planet. The morning in my world is the core of the planet, and all the asteroids is orbit around it is where all the people live. And then you can take your airship and the moons that are in orbit around the asteroid cluster that's left over. They aren't actual locations to land on. They're portals that open up that lead to the different planes that the moons are aligned with. So like, I forget the name of Mabar's moon, but it's like you could fly to that and fly through it into Mabar. But it's so far away, it's rarely a risk. But if you go running around out there, you can run into, nightmare demon monsters. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Let's enter, and then free transform equals flip horizontal. There you go, buddy. Do that. There we go. Where are we at? 9 o'clock? I still have a half hour. Yeah, I still have a half hour. So we'll just keep doing this. So next week, okay, so what's our schedule? Tomorrow morning, we're going to continue token production for Spelljammer. And then Saturday, we'll do page layouts for Spelljammer. And then Monday, we flip. So we'll be doing this map in the morning, Monday through Friday. And then we'll be doing Spelljammer token and map production on Monday, and Thursday night. I don't know what Saturday is yet. It'll either be Eberron or it'll be Spelljammer, whichever. And then we'll flip it again. We'll go back to Mondays being Spelljammer in the mornings for the week, and then Monday and Thursday night will be Eberron. Saturdays, whatever. So we'll just keep flipping back and forth like that. We're still maybe, I'm going to guess, maybe a month away from being done with the editing for the Eberron adventure, and I'll be done with layouts for Spelljammer probably in 2 weeks. I want to say, if it flies by, then great, it flies by. But I can typically get a book resolved in a month, so maybe 2 weeks, depending on how well it flows. I mean, it's like 120 pages, so it's a big lift, but we should be able to suss it out in fair order. And so once we have the layouts done, then the production switches to building tables, charts, and diagrams to organize information and to create visual examples of all the different types of ship maneuvering mechanics and stuff, using all the ship assets that we've been producing. So it's actually useful for me to finish all the ship assets for Spelljammer before we actually dig into Amon-Ra. Dig hard into the text layouts, because I'll need all that. I'll need all those assets for me to be able to finish what it is that we're doing. But as I lay in the text, I'll be able to see how much space am I actually going to need to be able to explain this thing, that we're doing here. So we'll see. It should all work out. I mean, it's hardly my first rodeo. It's just the biggest project that I've worked on, and honestly, it's the most exciting project I've had since the Color Mana books. I'll do that. Don't think. I don't, do I? I really don't. And ope. Let's get rid of that. We'll do that for now. I'll come back to that. I'm going to keep building this out. Where are we at in this process? There we are. Rotate 180. That should be pretty close to what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's a pretty strong dose of ranting I had going on there. Hopefully, hopefully folks are still on board with me. But yeah, this is kind of how we do. So I do this Monday through Saturday every week. And then pretty frequently Mondays and Thursday nights. And then, of course, martial powers. On Monday, I have Monday off. Oh my God, I have Monday off. I can spend like if I can endure it, I can do like 2.5, 3 hours worth of martial powers. I can do like 3 hours worth of this map on Monday morning. And then I can do a couple hours of Spelljammer stuff. So, my God. I can have a hell of a day on Monday. I am super looking forward to that. Oh, super freaking cool. God, I can't believe I forgot about that. It's so sick. Merge down. Merge. There. Dragon, I don't know if you're still around, man, but how's that reaction mechanic coming along, dude? I love that idea of like marking a target and then gaining an extra reaction against them. I think that's cool. I don't want to break my arm patting myself on the back about it, but I am highly interested in creating a sustained power that allows you to mark something and then do that. Like that would be a really cool version of Hunter's Mark for the Ranger to gain a free like an extra reaction against whatever target you have marked. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool design space. Not gonna lie. That's what I want right here. Got this free. Flip article. What, 20 minutes left tonight? Yeah, I got 20 minutes left. And then I'll be back on in, what is it, 9-ish right now? I'll be back on in 6:15. Yeah, 9 hours from now, I'll be back on stream doing more Spelljammer pixel tokens. Still trying to word it. Oh my god, it's so vicious, right? The wording is the killer thing, dude. Natural language, my ass. God's sake, give us some tags. Tags would be so much easier just to make this language so much cleaner. How are you off like that? It's defo something weird. Have you locked down how you want to do the mechanics specifically, or are you still using the language to guide the narrative? That's valid. Like if you get a taste of a mechanic, like something you want to do, and not knowing specifically how to word it, helps. Like just getting the idea down on paper helps you define what the mechanics are going to be because of the way that the text flows. Like this feels clunky. Like Heavy Arms is a master at that shit. Like getting a mechanic down to like one line or two at most, like making everything like super short, thematic, and punchy. It's excellent flavor design. That is a really good way to go. And like I'd say at least half the martial powers that I've put into that book so far are similarly narrative in nature. As just figuring out how to word the things reveals flaws in what you want it to do versus how the defined game mechanics that you're using actually work. Like you can bend into new space, but you really got to know where are you actually bending the laws of design to make what you want work. And once you understand properly what you're bending and how, that helps you be more aware of is it something that's just balanced or not. So, and Terran's really good about that balancing perspective. So he's really good about being able to slam stuff down and be able to find other things in reference to it that, you know, like this thing checks out. That's a legit thing to do, you know? It's cool to be in this circle of just really freaking good designers. Honestly, I feel very blessed to be in the crowd that I'm in. Do that. There we go. Chip, chop, chiree, chiroo, chirum. That's pretty good. Still trying to work it. I want to say this is exactly the same. I'm not sure if it is truly or not, but it is. Oh, nope, I'm wrong. Slightly different, but super easy to resolve. Barely an inconvenience. There we go. Chip, chop, chiree, chiroo, chirum. Merge. Pop. Merge. Merge, don't do it. Do. Excuse me. Just like that. Icked. It's very convincing. Okay. There we go. Merge down. Merge. Duplicate there, peep. Free transform equals flip vertical. One, two, perfect. Perfect. So far, so good. So what? I'll stop. Sing along with my favorite songs. Here, reap. No. Fix it. There. That's a floater. Don't do that. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. There you go, chip chop chiroo chiroo chirum. Transform. Flip particle. Something like that. Close enough. Boop. Oh, this is hardly rocket science here. Narratively, I know what I wanted. I want with a glimpse of the future and then react to it in the present before it happens. Right. Problem is that I think it forces the DM to sort of have to play one turn ahead. Well, I guess it depends on how frequently it's used, right? And that's a lot of why so many mechanics resolve that prick ignition stuff as just like a flat like advantage on your die roll or whatever. It's super bland, but it's you know, it's a narrative. It's not an exciting narrative, but it is a narrative. Yeah, there we go. What just happened? There. Please don't lock up on me. Please don't lock up. Perfect. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. There, I'm going to save real quick. The mushrooms have come from my brain. Don't mind me, just vegging out. There we go. Chop, chop, cherry, cheru, cherum, cherum, cheru. Merge them W's down. Now we can. Copy. Uh-oh. Oh, it's 9:30, my dudes. All right. So I think transform. I think this is the end of my time. So we're going to finish building on this frame, and then we're going to tear it apart. That'll be fun. That will be done. That will be fun. Here and in heaven. There we go. Chip, chop, cheree, cheru, cherum. I'm going to take this last moment here to build out that line. Obviously, the language that I have here isn't lining up precisely with what we got going on, but that's kind of the nature of it. It's as you move further away from clean air and here, let's just drop this in real quick before we bounce for the day. Beep beep boop. Is that what it was? Yeah, there we go. It's like this clean area stuff, right, where it's not being polluted or you know, poisoned. All the walls are remaining clean with its crisp language. Everything is very structured. As we move into this miasmic area, we're going to start tearing down these walls, breaking them apart. These lumps are just going to be huge, like huge knots of crystal that become obstacles that you have to climb over, like difficult terrain and stuff like that. It gets so thick. And then as you go further and further towards the nexus, the walls disintegrate and like get torn down, but then built up in a different language here. So we're building the thing up proper, and then we're going to tear it apart, which will be fun. So, and I only really need to do that up to here. So from here, I can start warping it, like it's just like literally being bent towards the nexus. So, but yeah, this is where we're at for now. We're going to be back the next time. We're going to work on this map. This map, in particular, is going to be it'll be Monday morning for a couple hours. And it'll be in the mornings for next week. So we'll definitely get the line work taken care of. It's gonna be bedtime for me soon. Bed early, up early, get a shitload of work done before my day job starts. Knock down my day job, spend some time with my gal on the weekend, and then just be productive on Saturday. I don't have any design or playtest meetings on Saturday, so most of that downtime I can use to clean up the post edits that Stuart has produced for this adventure. He's about halfway through Act 2, which means he's about halfway through the edits in the book, and so at best I would predict he's going to be done maybe mid-March. It could be early April by the time he's done, which is fantastic because we're going to be able to have, that gives us plenty of time to finish up this map. After this map, there is the village map. After the village map, there's like three or four different little vignettes, like an abandoned cottage, an abandoned farm, farmhouse and barn, a gazebo, and some patches of forest. So it's little vignettes that you can just drop down as little grid maps for characters to run around on inside the mist. The nature of the place is that the mist, the limit to your vision, I think it's like every 40 feet. I'll have to remember looking at the adventure, but you have very limited visibility, which means that as your characters are like stumbling through the thick fog, all the terrain's just kind of same until like you can see something shadowy ahead, and then the DM can just drop a vignette down like this is what you run into. And since you only see so far while you're looking at whatever that obstacle or structure is, the mist surrounding the area, the DM can just feed undead in from outside in the mists. You can't see where their origin point is. So like in a video game, they're spawning off screen, and your fog of war, like the literal fog of war, limits your visibility so you can have undead or mercenaries or whatever creature it is that you have the characters engaging can come in from off screen. And there's different like there's like a living mass grave that generates ghouls. So like it's just this mass, just like hundreds of bodies that are just fused together, and it has its own sort of intelligence. So as it senses living things, it just starts like spitting out ghouls to go attack and drag them back and pull them into the pile to refuel it. So when you find the mass grave, you can burn it, banish it, hack it to death, whatever you need to do to stop it from spawning any further, and that locks down that target. So anyway, that's some of the thoughts behind that. Fun adventure, cool mechanics, pretty well set up. I'm happy with it. I'm actually really, really happy with it. So this is where we're at for now. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream. Thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. If there's anybody new out there joining the fray, drop comments down below to say hey. Like and subscribe. Find me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. If you know where I'm at on Discord, give me a shout. And check out my books down in the description down below. The DMsGuild links takes you to my books. They're always 100%. You can read the entire book if you like it, or if you find yourself going back and visiting it again because you just want to look at those mechanics again. It's probably a good indication it's something worth buying. And of course, buying those books helps fuel my coffers to invest the time that it takes to produce these maps. I'm converting time into money, hopefully, and you guys all help me do that. So I'll eventually start doing Kickstarters, and when we do Kickstarters, we'll be doing this, but I'll be paid up front, and then everyone that kickstarts is welcome to jump on with me, and we can do this stuff together, and have polls about like what kind of stuff they want to have running around, or whatever it is that we end up doing. We'll make it cool for people to engage with the content. So, all right. 2 yawns is done. So I'm out of here, guys. I really appreciate you. I will be back in 8.5 hours. We're gonna do some more monster tokens from Boo's Menagerie for Spelljammer, and then Saturday book layouts, and then back on Monday I have the day off. We'll do Eberron map, martial powers, and then probably more. If the tokens aren't done at that point, then if the tokens are done at that point, great. And we'll go into ship design tokens or asteroid map. So whatever we see. Anyway, we got a shitload of work to do. So hang out with me sometime. I'll see you guys on the other side. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. See you guys later.